Howdy, folks. Welcome to Doobies with Doug. Doobie, Doug. I ain't done one of these in a couple days, but I just got word today that a good friend of mine passed away. We haven't been close in probably 25 years, but I went to elementary with him, and we were close and hung out and were part of each other's lives for well into my 30s. So 25 years ago. And I just wanted to tell a story about him because, well, for two reasons. One, to memorialize one of the most insane motherfuckers I've ever met in my life. And two, if he's dead, they can't prosecute him. This all started when he was 16. A cop tackled him off of his bicycle. Because the cop was yelling, "Hey, you stop." But he didn't know he was talking to him. He thought he was talking to that kid that was running. So he was running, and this cop tackled him and knocked two of his teeth out and handcuffed him, and they took him down to the police station and all this shit. Now, this kid was like 3 years older than me, being in the same grade. But we went from, like I said, they put him in kindergarten. He was like 7 or 8 years old with me, and it was because he was raised in the middle of the Vietnam War. His first 5 years were in Vietnam, and so he wasn't the stablest of kids, and he spent, as far as I know, till the day he died, finding ways to fuck with that cop. Blueberry jam on his door handle. Just the most petty, stupid, ridiculous. He was known as the Kentwood Sniper at one time, and the only thing he ever did was shoot the emergency lights out of all the cop cars. He did that shit for like 6 years with a BB gun from the cemetery. It was fucking hilarious. He spent 40 years fucking with that cop. And I mean once a week, twice a week, he would find a way to fuck with that cop. He did expensive shit to that cop. He did evil shit to that cop. He did questionable shit to that cop. he, yeah. Flipped the motherfucking outhouse, the old blue porta potty over. His cop would go whack off in the porta potty, and he knew it. He rigged that motherfucker with a rope that went up over a tree limb so he could just grab it and yank it and flip right over. He flipped that fucker upside down with that cop in it. Fucking pouring shit in his gas tanks. Paintball in his house. He'd spell fucking pig in big giant letters with gasoline in the middle of this guy's really nice yard. And the guy moved and he fucking tracked him down like a bloodhound, the cop did. And I often wonder if that cop thought it was just a series of people fucking with him, or if he was aware of the fact that it was him the whole fucking time. He never caught him for anything. But for fucking, like I said, 40 years. He found every petty, stupid, ridiculous way he could find to fuck with that cop. He'd buy fucking 12-pack bottles of dough and heat and just fucking drive by, pull up with his fucking license plate covered with a fucking piece of paper. pull up to this guy's fucking squad car, just spray the whole back of it with dough and heat, and drive off just before shift change. This is fucking ridiculous. And anyway, he passed away, and the world is probably a safer place because he was a little obsessive, but he was a good guy in his heart. And in his defense, the cop did start it. And I'm sure if he wanted to, he could have just killed him. So, there's that. Got a chance to do my good deed for the day. One of the guys I work for sometimes has had a lot of back surgeries. Got 2 canes and just barely hobbles. It takes him like 10 minutes to go 50 feet. So he gave me a ride into town to get weed. And I ended up running in and out of 10 stores, buying 30 different things and prescriptions filled and blah, blah, blah. Just because it's easier than... I mean, he wanted to do it, but I'm like, look, man, that's going to take like 3 hours and I have shit to do. You know, if you feel like you need to get out and get the exercise because your back hurts or whatever, just, it's not raining, walk around the parking lot or just go walk around in there, but I'll grab all this shit. You know, so you don't have to hurt yourself and we can get the fuck out of here before midnight. I love you, but let's move this fucking shit along, bro. So, like I said, I ended up getting him a bunch of shit. And it's crazy, too, because he's always like, well, sending me to buy meat for him. Products. Like, go get, will you grab some fried chicken? And I go in there and I'm like, I need a 2 of each, is what he told me. 2 legs, 2 breasts, whatever. And the girl just looks at me like I'm from fucking Jupiter. And she goes, you mean like an 8-pack? And I'm like, well, yeah, I guess that would be an 8-pack, whatever. And then she's like, baked or fried. So I fucking text him, baked or fried. He said, which one looks better? How the fuck am I supposed to know? They both look pretty fucking gross to me. I haven't bought meat since 1988. There's nothing obviously fucking wrong with these chickens that don't seem wrong with every chicken to me. I don't know what the fuck to tell you. Don't send me in the store. Because for one, I don't like standing there. Or the meat counter. I don't like standing there. It's fucking creepy. I have murdered tens of thousands of animals. I have butchered and cleaned, cut, sausage, smoked, jerked, fucking elk, bear, muskrat, fucking beaver, you name it. Rabbits and turkeys, fucking, and pigs and cows, and, you know, I've done all that shit. I grew up doing that shit. That's our lifestyle. It's fucking creepy. Especially when you stand around in this big, giant, lit up, effervescent display of fucking body parts. Look at the body parts. They're all perfectly aligned and arranged for your perusal. It's fucking creepy, Hannibal. And it's not a pleasant experience for me personally to see, smell dismembered things, burnt or not. And the guy's a good guy, and I like helping him because, you know, he needs the help, and he's a good guy. And he helps me back. So I got really frustrated with the guy. After like 3 times I had to tell him, Rennie, brother, I don't know what you're talking about. I literally, nobody I know has asked me to buy meat for them in 40 fucking years. For realsies. I didn't even know hamburger came in a fucking tube, let alone the difference in all the 12 different kinds of tubes of fucking hamburger you can buy. Nor do I care or want to think about it. So I got a little frustrated with him. I'm like, really, dude? The best I'm going to be able to do is take pictures of shit in the store and send them to you and go, this one? Because I don't fucking know. So what I could have done with a miserable, wet, painful fucking walk in an hour and 40 minutes. It was like a 3 hour ordeal in town. But Rennie could tell I was getting frustrated, so he paid for my weed, which was nice. You know, there's some. It's called wedding cake, I think. No, Sunday driver. And yeah, I think I would drive around slow on a country road, listening to some good music on this weed. 20 miles an hour on a back road on a summer day. I'm down for that. Sunday driver. No, it spelled like ice cream sundae. I don't know. One of the problems that I've run into with the sudden explosion in cannabis culture is there's a bandwidth of understanding of what stuff is. And the general population is very limited. People here who like work in the weed store, it's quite a bit greater. They know about terpenes, they know about flavonoids, they know about the different CBDs and how much THC in this, but their bandwidth is really narrow. And then you have the farmers, and most of them, their bandwidth is just agricultural. Very little of it is breeding and genetics and scientific. There's just a lot of them are just what your atypical, only educated as much as they need to be farmers. Wise and educated are not always the same thing. You don't have time to be educated in everything if you're a farmer because you need to learn. You need to do a bunch of shit. You just need to learn it. It's different. Anyway, but there's very, very few people here that have an understanding of how the genetics and the agriculture and the biophysical and the cultural and the spiritual and the way all of these things come into play together. That seems to be a very limited bandwidth. And the people that are coming at that from a background of Linnaean taxonomy and botany and the actual language of plants are also few and far between. There's a lot of people here that are educated in that stuff, but not as many of them are involved in the cannabis industry. So there's that. And then there's, there's a good bandwidth of highly educated, all around agricultural scientists that are in the game, that know what they're doing. But the industry here is so huge, you get this massive bandwidth of everything from, guys farming in buckets and cow shit, whatever, you get it all. Because the industry is so huge. So I wrote up a thing like a resume, and on the resume, I put in a section that what my goal is I want to work as a liaison between the stores, the buyers, and the farms to be able to improve the quality of the product that's coming out of the farms to tailor it more towards what the store is trying to sell. If what the store is trying to sell is 20,000 $3 grams, that's a different business deal for your farm than growing the high dollar, $15 a gram Gucci weed, which usually isn't even as good. It just looks better. Sometimes it's really dank though. But there's there's just not a lot of scientists that are able to step into that gap. So I'm hoping to be able to sell that idea to one of these chains of stores, or any of them, or all of them. I don't give a fuck. I know that by working with farmers, I can bring their cost down while increasing the amount of product they can move. You know, well, that way they can maintain their flow and maintain their profit margin, and it's not going to hurt the customer. For them to take the extra time to do the extra weed, it's got to be worth the extra money, right? To do the extra steps in the weed, the extra curing, because a lot of the issues you have in the stores, and even every stores I've been in, every medical store I've been in, there's one exception in California. I can't remember the name of it. But almost everyone I've been in, the quality control just seems random. Um, I'm I don't want legislation or laws surrounding it, but I think a smart provider, a dispensary, would set up a situation where you are having the weed that you're selling tested for everything. You're tested for pesticides just voluntarily. Form your own free trade association for organics, or for just testing standards in general of what is in the weed, you know, and being able to develop them kind of relationships between the farmers and the stores. And I'm going to try to get in on doing that. And we'll see how it works. Um, I know a lot about the science of weed. I know a lot about growing weed. I know a fair bit about selling weed, and a shitload about smoking weed. Uh-huh. And I got a fairly decent resume, so we'll see how it works. Um, what else is new? I repaired my Ant-Man roach keeper. He's back in shape. He dropped his axe the other night. The wire that was holding it together broke, and he's got little lacy ant wings. That's his job, hold the roaches. Nothing much else is new. I'm feeling better. My lungs are coming back. I still got a fucking raw right in the top here, and just a weird chest pain. Not like a heart pain or a lung pain, but just like this weird tension pain in my chest, like some inner meningeal layer or something is bruised. And it's kind of weird. I ain't been to the beach today. I know, but wait, I did too. Ha, liar! I was there for about 15 minutes, and it went from normal Pacific Northwest pissy rain to fucking torrential sideways downpour. So I came home. That was this morning about 9 o'clock. And I forgot my phone, so I didn't get any pictures. That was the whole goal of braving the weather in the first place, was I wanted to catch a storm blowing in on the film. And I did not, so I forgot my fucking phone. And once you're down there, you're not walking back up and then back down. No, unless there's something really fucking cool going on. I'm kind of sad about watching so many people still being manipulated by the media and by the government, official story. I get kind of frustrating. Glad I'm alone. I'm pretty happy with having to put up with anybody's stupid shit right now. The problem with terrorism, war, with Afghanistan, with Iraq, Syria, with Ukraine, are people with money want power, so they buy guns and give them to other people. Got it? Have we figured that fucking cycle out? Who makes the guns? How many fucking gun factories are there in the world? Who makes the motherfucking rockets? Who makes these fucking, what do they call them, laws? All this shit that you're seeing, all these motherfucking places in Africa that 10 years ago hadn't seen a cell phone. And they got fucking drones dropping bombs on each other. And I knew as soon as I heard about this whole thing, because everybody hates Russia. It's the only white people we can still hate. Almost nobody is fucking freaking out about Ukraine right now knows any bit of the history of the Ukrainian, Russian deals, of the American NATO attempts, the European Union attempts, the annexing of Crimea. They don't know anything about any of that. They don't know about the diamond consortiums. They don't know about the money changing hands, who sold what to who without fucking deed or title to it. Half the shit the Zelensky government is claiming title to, things that they sold on the international market, they belong in the justice courts for what they did. They sold massive tracts of people's personal fucking property on the world market without their consent. Diamond mines. And the fuckers hide in plain sight. They do this shit in plain sight. They write it all fucking down. There's records of everything I'm talking about. Anybody that wants to can find this shit. It is all what is called public record. And after a certain amount of time, it goes automatically to the Library of Congress. The President of the United States said, I know the drug laws are unconstitutional, but we can use them to control these niggers and hippies. And that's exactly what the fuck they did. And the hippies didn't get controlled by the boot that they, as soon as they realized that the white kids were helping out the black kids with this whole marching in Selma shit, they had to find a way to demonize them all. Boom. The current president of the United States armed these motherfuckers and wrote a crime bill that instituted dozens of unconstitutional penalties on fucking just about everything. If you get caught in the state of California 3 times with more than 5 grams of cocaine, you will spend the rest of your life in prison. For having a mental health issue. Addiction is a mental health issue. There's still places right here in the United States where I could do 3 to 5 years for this jar right here. My God, they raid this place in motherfucking, pick one, Tennessee. I'm going to prison. There's a bunch of shit in here. All kinds of weed. roaches, fucking shit I forgot about. So yeah, there's evil happening all over the fucking world. And I posted this shit on Facebook earlier, but it's going up on my YouTube too. There's evil going on all over the world. And the same people getting rich off from bombing Ukrainians are getting rich off from bombing Russians, and they're all fucking hanging out together later. The Russian counterpart to Boeing, whatever the fuck, it's all the same people. The us versus them isn't us versus Russia or us versus China or Christians versus Muslims. It's the fucking powerful warmongers that keep control of the planet by continuously manufacturing war. 80% of human energy goes into making war. In the 20 years we were in Afghanistan, if we would literally just throw books and fucking laptops full of information out of the back of a fucking airplane on parachutes all over Afghanistan, we would have not only saved ourselves trillions of dollars, we would have made a positive impact on Afghanistan and changed their culture. If we had dropped fucking antibiotics on the Somalians instead of fucking shooting them with machine guns from a helicopter, we might have actually helped instead of creating a civil war that's still going on to this day. For 3% of the cost. Everything runs on fuel. Blind adherence to false authority doesn't alleviate you from culpability. If what's being done in your name is evil, especially if you don't even speak up about it, especially if you can't even accept that as a truth. Because every Mars bar, every pint of gasoline, every extra banana that gets thrown away because Americans need the perfect bandwidth of bananas available at all times, whether they're going to eat them or not, there's a person being oppressed. There's a person being taken from. For every smartphone, for every radio, there's a person being stolen from. There's a person being enslaved. There's a person being abused. And the fuel for that system is the people who work in it. The older I get, the more I realize why really smart people end up on top of mountains or way out in the middle of the fucking jungle somewhere. The older I get, the more I understand why Nero fiddled. Because you either laugh or go mad, or both. I wonder if every I'm sure, history tells me from reading that every generation has a group of people that sure wish everybody else would fucking catch on. They stop all this blathering and shit throwing like a bunch of screaming monkeys. Anyway. Not much else is new. Watch watching some trials, sitting out the fucking rain. Eat taco, smoking pot. Half-hour video. I think that might be my longest. This is my fucking Doobies with Doug part 9, I believe. Rant of the evening. Peace out, y'all.